Stop ignoring the perfect partner who moves at lightning speed to win your heart. That overwhelming rush of intimacy is not always love. It is a predatory rhythm used to map your vulnerabilities before you even know you are being studied. Today, we go deeper than the basic warning signs. We expose the exact mechanics of how a pedestal of praise transforms into a psychological prison. We're taking a forensic look at a psychological trap that essentially hides in plain sight, completely disguised as a modern fairy tale. We aren't just going to list off a bunch of basic red flags today. Instead, we're breaking down the cold, calculated machinery of love bombing. We'll explore the exact mechanisms that are deployed to capture your attention and totally dismantle your boundaries, step by step. So let's dive into the very first mechanism, which is the language. Notice the stark contrast here between what is real and what is totally manufactured. Genuine appreciation is specific. It's proportional to the actual amount of time you spent together, and it's a response to something you actually did or said. It feels earned. But contrast that with hyperbolic flattery. We're talking grand, sweeping statements like, "I have never felt this understood in my entire life." When someone drops a line like that in week 2, it's vastly disproportional. And let me tell you, that disproportion is highly, highly strategic. And that actually brings us to the real goal of all that hyperbolic flattery. It's designed to create what's known as psychological debt. This is a brilliant concept from behavioral economics, and it really shows what's happening just beneath the surface of all those glowing compliments. See, when someone showers you with all this unearned praise, making you feel seen and valued in a way you maybe have never felt before, it creates an unconscious sense that you now owe this person something significant in return. You have basically been issued an invisible emotional invoice. And the truly terrifying part? You don't even realize you've just agreed to pay it. Now, this brings us to what is, frankly, a deeply disturbing extraction tool: weaponized oversharing. This is exactly how the trap tightens. Within days, or honestly sometimes even hours, this person might share a profound trauma or a deep fear with you, which creates an intense illusion of trust. And because you're an empathetic human being, you naturally want to reciprocate. You match their vulnerability with your own. But in that exact moment of exchange, the trap snaps shut. You have just handed them a detailed map of your deepest insecurities, your specific fears, and the exact wounds that make you the most fragile. So the crucial point here, and I want to be incredibly clear about this, is that what feels like a profoundly intimate connection is actually reconnaissance. You are being studied. And this gathered intel does not just disappear. It's carefully filed away, it's stored so that it can resurface later with absolute precision, exactly when it will cause you the most damage or force the most compliance. The vulnerability you offered up in good faith literally becomes the ammunition used to keep you in line later on.
This predatory rhythm then physically embeds itself through a constant communication loop. It starts with those sweet good morning texts before you even wake up, followed by just a continuous stream of messages all day long. It demands your continuous availability, but it's heavily disguised as this intense romantic enthusiasm. The true goal, though, is that last piece, the complete loss of your quiet evaluation time.
Which leads us to ask this really critical question. Is this passion or is it cognitive occupation? Let me explain why this matters so much. True passion does not require constant, exhausting monitoring. What this constant loop actually does is occupy so much of your cognitive and emotional bandwidth that you have absolutely zero capacity left to step back and evaluate the situation objectively. You're never given a quiet moment to just think clearly, because a quiet moment is exactly when your objective clarity would kick back in. This loop is the exact mechanism that prevents your judgment from engaging. Because you are given absolutely no time to think, the mental health damage begins to silently compound over time. It starts with phase 1, that initial chosen intensity. But listen, human beings cannot sustain performed adoration indefinitely. It is literally impossible. So you inevitably hit phase 2, the decrease. And when that adoration drops, you don't just return to a normal baseline. Oh no. In phase 3, you experience the withdrawal as a devastating personal punishment, and you desperately try to recapture that initial high. This ultimately traps you in phase 4, a deep, anxious attachment. Look, the pedestal you were placed on was never actually about your worth. It was built specifically so that its removal would feel like a devastating punishment. That repeated, wildly unpredictable punishment trains your nervous system to chase inconsistency as though it were love. It leaves you fighting desperately to get back up on a pedestal that, from day one, was always designed to be a prison. And this silent damage, it often outlasts the relationship by years.
Survivors don't just experience a lingering distrust of their own perception, they face a profound recalibration of their nervous system. Your brain literally gets rewired to associate chaos, anxiety, and unpredictability with significance. After going through this, a healthy, calm relationship might actually feel boring or somehow wrong to you, simply because your body is basically just sitting there waiting for the predatory rhythm to begin again.
Which brings us to the single most important takeaway of this entire explainer. Understanding these mechanisms is how you get your power back. So ask yourself, are you being loved right now, or are you being studied? Recognizing the mechanics of this pattern is what allows you to interrupt it the next time it begins, before the pedestal has had time to become a prison you do not remember walking into.